Guys, you know how cruel cancel culture may be, and when a celebrity crosses a line, there may never be coming back. Well, it seems like Steve Harvey is currently experiencing what it feels like to go down from everyone's favorite to a Hollywood pariah, and apparently some of his harsh actions and statements may have cost his career. But what does the famous comedian and TV host has to say about that? Let's dig into details without any delays. Hi everyone, and welcome back to Celeb Live channel. So, Steve Harvey doesn't need an introduction. He's everyone's favorite celebrity, and people simply adore him for his good nature and humor. But it feels like only those who are close to the famous TV host know his true nature. And apparently, they don't portray him in the same light. Well, several recent incidents already gave us a lot of intel on Steve, and it feels like there's a good reason for the industry to have him canceled. But what does Steve Harvey have to say about this? We have seen a lot of examples when insane statements and actions from the past could ruin a successful career in a moment. Just look at Tiffany Haddish, for example, and by what it looks like, Steve's days of glory are also in the past because too many people demand him to pay for insensitive things he had done and said. I guess there are too many skeletons in the TV host's closet, and they are coming to throw shade on him. And boy, his life is full of ugly things he had created with his bare hands, starting with that horrible memo he wrote to warn his talk show staff. Although Steve makes an impression of nice guy, people who work with him believe it's a total nightmare because of the TV host's God complex. One of his staff members leaked the memo where Steve described new rules of work to the press. And boy, the way Steve presented things was harsh and totally disrespectful. The part of the memo read, "Do not come to my dressing room unless invited. Do not approach me while I'm in the makeup chair unless I ask to speak with you directly. Do not take offense to the new way of doing business. It is for the good of my personal life and enjoyment." I mean, if you need a little space and a room to breathe, there are certainly nicer ways to put it, right? But it feels like Steve wanted to play a diva for a while. And his memo literally said, "I despise you all. Stop annoying me." Harvey's strange behavior has been subject to media attention in the past, but no one expected to witness such things behind the scenes of his famous talk show. Well, the memo created a huge buzz in the media, and the way the iconic TV host addressed his employees was largely criticized. However, not only did Steve confirm that he indeed had written this letter, he didn't even think to apologize for his choice of words. In his Ed interview, Harvey said it was a request for his staff to honor and respect his privacy because everyone was violating his personal space. "I could not find a way to walk from the stage to my dressing room, to sit in my makeup chair, to walk from my dressing room to the stage, or to just sit and have lunch without somebody just walking in." He added that he didn't want to apologize for the letter because it was the only way to make people understand what is required from them. Moreover, Steve didn't even think there was something harsh and offensive in that memo. As the TV host said, "I don't apologize about the letter, but it's kind of crazy what people who took this thing and ran, man." Well, Steve had the audacity to treat his own staff members like there are meaningless dirt for him, and was so sure that he was right to do such things and never expected the cancel culture closing on him. It's like he knows that he would never face any consequences because of his wealth and status. But I guess once you cross the line and get away with it, you become more and more careless. And that's exactly what had happened to Steve because the list of his controversial actions and statements continued to grow. But Steve doesn't even realize how obnoxious and arrogant he is. And despite all his achievements, this is not the way you treat people, especially the people you see every day at work. Well, while this alone is not enough to have Steve canceled because some of his devoted fans jumped to his protection, let me tell you, this is not the first time he acted like a complete douche and allowed himself some hateful comments. And it seems like the world is developing too quick for Steve Harvey to process because several things that have become common are still out of his comprehension. In an interview with Hip Hollywood, he repeatedly calls Caitlyn Jenner a het and says he cannot grasp the whole idea of man calling himself a woman. Despite wishing all the best to Caitlyn, Steve was still in denial of what was going on with her, and he couldn't refrain from omitting disrespectful comments about transgenders, saying everybody says it's the bravest thing they've ever seen. So that's the politically correct thing to say. I can't wrap my mind around it all. Zero. I have no concept of what that means. But this is not the only cringy statement he had made that might have led to the industry decision to cancel Steve for good, because with his old ideas and values, it seems like there's no place for him on TV anymore, and knowing that his insensitive comments and remarks may only bring the rating down, one network after another refuses to work with the famous TV host. I mean, who wants to work with a person who could destroy the network's reputation with one line? And Steve's unpredictable jokes already lead to huge backlash, like it was with his insulting remarks about the Asian men. And fans would easily forget Steve if they see that she had changed and gotten rid of this kind of thinking. However, Steve doesn't like to accept that he was wrong, ever. And apparently, this is why his career is going to sink. As one user commented, "I still remember the one on Asian men and I know it was big news back then. I thought that was going to end his career, but nope, it just flew by like nothing happened. I don't think he even made a public apology about it." And another person added, "I dislike Steve. Some of the interviews and drama between his guests and him have been eye-opening enough that I think he is a total post." Well, the industry industry starts to realize that there's no place for a man like Steve on modern daytime TV. And apparently, his days of glory and fame are numbered. Everyone sees him not as Uncle Steve, but as a racist, misogynistic, and transphobic person who cannot stop running his mouth. Well, as you can guess, Steve only blames the society and never himself. And as he says, the current politics doesn't allow him to make any good jokes anymore. According to him, people became too sensitive, and every time he makes a joke, it's somehow offensive to someone. It seems like Steve is still stuck somewhere in the 80s where insulting things could create a good comedy. And although he believes it's okay to joke about people in a way he does, well, it's 2023 and there are other ways to make a joke without hurting anyone. In Steve's own words, every joke now, it hurts somebody's feelings. What people don't understand about comedians is that a joke has to be about something. It has to be about somebody. We can't write jokes about puppies all the time. A joke can't be about bushes all the time. Some of these jokes have to be about people. Now I wonder how would Steve react if people were making jokes about the way he handles his relationships with women, and whether he would be insulted or offended if people start talking about his sharing dating advice when this man literally cheating on every wife of his, but it doesn't prevent him from giving his relationship tips. And mind my words, some of them are cringy. During one of his segments on Good Morning America, one caller asked Steve how to politely turn down a man, and he answered, "You cannot stop a guy. Once a guy is interested in you, we lock in. We don't care what you do." Well, this is exactly how Steve Harvey got his wife, Marjorie. And something tells me that he was stalking poor woman for decades until she realized there won't be any escape from his shocking attention. And these are just a few examples because Harvey had made countless heinous comments about women, members of the LGBTQ community, and minorities through the year. But despite all that, he had continued to make a career as an on-air personality. And some people start to open their eyes on Steve's disturbing behavior, and they believe there's no place for him in the show business with the views of a caveman. Some even state that he should have been canceled years ago, but for some reason, probably bribery, he managed to get away and continue his offensive bravado. But by what it looks, the public is fed up with his behavior and remarks and wants him out of sight. As one user wrote, there was something about him that you can clearly see as fake when he was on TV. I don't know, but I always thought that his TV personality was kind of a fake persona. And another user added, "He is a crass and foul man who hides behind his faith. Take one look at how he handled his marriage and how his daughter is famous for basically dating one man after another and then protesting when it ends. That behavior is learned at her father's knee." It seems like Steve needs to change if he wants to keep working in the show business, at least for a couple more years. Because so far, his diva behavior may only result in him being canceled. And what do you reckon? Is Steve's career going down in flames? Or will he be able to change to save his wealth and reputation? Share your thoughts in the comments below. I'm eager to know what you're thinking. And in the meantime, check my other videos about celebrities being canceled. There are a lot of people whose careers got destroyed by one slippery move. Well, that's all for today. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned, and I promise to be back very soon.